With that, let us bring in U.S. Senate candidate for North Carolina and former RNC Chairman Michael Whatley. Chairman, Michael, what do Republicans running in the midterms like yourself need to hear from President Trump tonight?
Well, President Trump is leading the most transformational term in our lifetime. He is rebuilding our economy. He has restored our borders. He's keeping our communities safe. And he's also made sure that America is going to be strong and respected again around the world.
So we are, of course, looking at everything through the lens of the midterm elections, clearly impacting you. And right now, according to the latest Fox News poll, the president has dropped among independent voters by 16 points from last year to this year. Do you think that a single address can sway those independent voters back towards President Trump and Republicans? And how does he go about swaying them?
Well, I think it's an important conversation to have with the American people to lay out clearly what he is doing. You know, to talk about his trade policies, his tax policies, and his regulatory policies, the impact that they're going to have on America. Talk about the fact that we have completely restored our borders. For the last 9 months, 0 illegal immigrants have been caught at the border and released into the United States. Drugs are off the street. Criminals are off the street. The murder rate is down to historic lows. And we're also very, very strong around the world because he's making sure that our men and women in uniform have what they need to carry out their mission around the world.
I'll see Carly's polling on independence and raise her overall polling in comparison with previous presidents. President Trump's on par with former Presidents Obama and Bush when it comes to those second-term approval ratings. There you see him on the screen, 2 points ahead of Barack Obama. Yet you think his approval is in the teens or single digits when you hear the mainstream media discuss it. How can he win his messaging and tell a story when he's not just competing against Democrats, he's also competing against the refs, who in this case are the media?
Yeah, look, the Democrats right now are doubling down on the same failed agenda that they ran on in 2024. Inflationary spending, open borders, and a weak, woke America. The American voters rejected that agenda resoundingly in the last election cycle. Democrats are doubling down on stupid, including my opponent, Roy Cooper, who is a card-carrying member of that mob. Right now, the president has got to deliver this message tonight, and he's got to continue to deliver it throughout the elections in order to make sure that we're going to be able to win in the midterms.
Yeah, a big part of the speech is, of course, going to be about the economy. And the president is going to have to praise the economy without dismissing voter concerns over it. How does he go about doing that?
Well, look, I mean, President Biden put us in a ditch. You know, we saw gasoline prices, grocery prices, and housing prices all skyrocket. Inflation skyrocketed during his term. And President Trump and the Republicans in the House and Senate are pulling the country out of the ditch right now. We're certainly not ready to hang up a mission accomplished sign, but hundreds of thousands of jobs in the private sector are being created. Real wages are up year over year. The inflation is way down, and the GDP is growing. So our economy is starting to move again, and that's a very important indicator for us.
Meantime, she ran as a moderate. Yeah. She is governing as anything but. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger set to give the Democratic rebuttal to the president's State of the Union tonight, along with 9 trillion other rebuttals scattered throughout all of D.C. and beyond. But the pick of Spanberger, what does that tell you about what Democrats are doing, how they're approaching the midterms, and the overall state of the Democrat Party?
What they want to do is hide their agenda. Abigail Spanberger ran as a moderate. Joe Biden ran as a moderate. Then they turned around and governed immediately from the left wing. Roy Cooper, my opponent, did exactly the same thing in his runs for governor. He's trying to portray himself as a centrist right now. The fact is, Democrats have doubled down on the same failed agenda that they lost on in 2024. They are offering nothing other than opposition to President Trump right now, and they're not putting any solutions on the table for American voters.
And Senator Alex Padilla is going to be delivering the response in Spanish. So that's one of the responses that you were talking about. Also something to watch, Michael, and we got to leave it there, but I just want to make note of this is the first time the president is going to come face to face with the Supreme Court since they struck down his tariff agenda. So that is something to watch out for, how he handles that. If he addresses it at all, we'll be watching at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Michael, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.